This is why I train in martial arts.
So, I am going to do a reaction and analysis from a martial arts self-defense perspective on this incident where a model was attacked in 2022 randomly by someone that she did not know. I'm just going to make my point real quick for those of you I know who have extremely short attention spans. Number one, yes, this is proof that things can happen that you did not provoke. Random attacks. That's one reason why you should take a martial arts class. Number two, having a dog with you can help. But more to my point of number three, for the just shoot you crowd, having a gun around you is not necessarily going to help you because you have to be able to get to the gun.
My other eyes turning purple. I don't even know what my back looks like. I can't even see it. There's a hole in the tongue in my tongue from where I bit my tongue. After my x-rays, it told me I have right here, there's the bone is fractured, and right here is fractured. I don't need surgery to fix it, luckily. It's just I'm going to have to deal with the pain for a while. My back feels horrible. They gave me a bunch of medicine to take and stuff to put on it.
So first of all, I don't think there's any conditioning that you're going to be able to do that's going to protect your face bones from damage. Okay? I really feel bad for her that she got caught totally by random by somebody who appears to just have something wrong with them, mentally, spiritually, or both. There's no real explanation given for this attack, as far as I know, other than she was literally just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, or it says below this video here that the car was stolen. But do you really have to do all that to a person just to steal their car? I'm inclined to believe that this was more than just theft. This was like animosity on top of theft. Well, let's keep going.
He beat me repeatedly and bit me 14 times across my back and pulled out 8 of my locks with his teeth. This happened right in Atlanta. It's just a warning for everybody to be careful. And this is a random man. He was random. I had no idea who this man was. It's everybody.
Random. A good reason to take a martial arts class. What style should you take? Practically any style would do. If you're near me, take my class. This is actually something I think I can help you with. Some other things, like if you're dealing with a knife expert, somebody's coming at you with a machete and a sword, you got 15 people coming up out the ground, or, automatic weapon fire, I can't help you with that. But this, I think I could help someone with this, even if it's a small woman against a large man. We're talking about self-defense here and escape, not getting into a cage match preparing for a professional fight.
Be careful out here.
Okay, so you guys just saw that video, and the young woman, she goes by Nate on social media. She is a model, and I saw some of you guys asking about her freckles. Those are her natural freckles, according to her. They have like a beautiful pattern. I don't think I've ever seen someone with freckles that have like that specific pattern. Like,
shout out, by the way, to Paris Milan, whose video I'm reacting to, and I should be able to react to it by fair use. I think this was an excellent analysis of this situation. I'm just going to go in again from a martial arts perspective. First point, you have to be able to get to your gun if you're going to have a gun. You have to be able to get to it. If you can't get to the gun cannot protect you. The model describing what happened to her really goes into that, the reality of that at this point. And this is where empty hand traditional martial arts will help you. It can help you fight someone off long enough so that you can get to your gun.
It's an open carry state. Like I carry my. I will say, after he kicked my dog did bite him. That's what gave me the chance to actually even get up. I say, yeah. What happened is, okay, so with the gun situation, initially when he pulled me back into the car, and so I'm on this side of him, and like this, I had to reach over him to grab my. So when he realized I grabbed my, is when he flipped me over into the backseat and pinned me up against the seat. So it was literally like, how can I explain this? So the seat, my face is this way, and he's behind me and has me pinned to the seat, and the gun is pinned to me like this, to where I couldn't move it, and he kept trying to pull it out of my hand. So now I let that go. That's exactly where it was. It was in the cup holder. I normally keep it right there. I kept it right there in the cup holder. So for me reaching over him to grab it, when I came back up and he saw that, it was over. What happened after you got arrested? I was in the hospital for 2 days after.
So you see that she had a gun. She had where she could reach it, but she couldn't reach it. She couldn't reach the gun. So that's where empty hand techniques would have come in. And I made a point about the dog too. Even though my preferred thing is empty hands, I'm like, man, you use whatever you can.
A security guard called the police. The security guard, I don't think, honestly, he felt like he said that there wasn't much that he could do, so he just ended up calling the police, which I'm glad he did call the police. Was he on or something? From reading this, no, he was not on drugs. He was charged with carjacking, battery, and aggravated assault as the only 3 charges that he was charged with that night, from what I understand. But I was also told that when I go to court, that other charges can be added once I speak to the DA. Was you sleeping in your car? I wasn't sleeping, but because it was so late, I was kind of just chilling for a second, because I think my dog gets motion sickness now, and he was throwing up in my car. So I pulled over to let him out the car for a minute, so that way he can get himself together. And I kind of just sat still so he could get his life together, because I don't know what's going on with him. He's old at this point. I don't know if he had priors or anything either. He was a black man. The whole story is on my page, y'all. Do you have family there? No, I don't have family there.
So I don't want to come off like I'm victim blaming, but I will say it sounds like she made a tactical error, and that does not justify what he did in the least at all. That does not excuse what her attacker did at all in the least. But if we can learn anything from this from a tactical standpoint, like warfare, like martial arts, which are supposed to be derived from warfare, just do your best not to make any tactical errors, because we live in a world where people will try to take advantage of them, and in an awful, awful way. Now, Paris Milan has a comment in her video that I have to say I agree with. She's saying that it's mostly directed at black women, or usually directed at black women, but I can tell you, Miss Milan, I've heard this too as a black man whenever I've said that someone's attacked me or tried to attack me. That's the victim blaming. You got people in this world that you tell them, hey, someone tried to murder me. Well, what did you do for them to try to murder? Come on. Okay. Are they trying to point out tactical errors? I don't think so. I think they just feel like, I know to a large degree in this world, we manifest the reality that we have. Our thoughts create things and situations that happen. But we're not God. We don't have absolute control over everything that happens in our lives. We don't. So just listen to this point.
I don't know how else anybody else views this. He told the officer he was trying to kill her. He's telling the officer he had hepatitis. Pathetic idiots are asking her, why didn't you fight back? Welcome to the black community.
The dumbest question I've been asked off, like, out of all of this shit, is the dumbest question I've ever seen. That's how I'm still alive. If I didn't fight back, I know for a fact I would have been on that ground. They probably would have just been finding my fucking body maybe yesterday or today.
That's why the latest advice that you'll get now, if someone's trying to abduct you, so back in the day, probably before when a lot of you were born, they used to tell people to comply, but now they tell you to fight and fight back and fight hard. And they help you fight if you've got some martial arts training.
This is horrific. I'm so happy that she called the police. I'm happy she had a gun, but something that she said that a lot of you should be aware of, if you ever decide to get one, it is imperative that you take self-defense classes alongside of it. In some of these open carry states like Georgia, where you could just go and pick one up, you don't need to take classes. I guess the only benefit of being in a state that's not so readily giving out like permits and things like that or allowing you to be open carry is that they encourage education. And when you take the classes, they guide you and inform you on how you should have different levels of awareness. The levels of awareness are based upon color, alert, and then there's one where it's like, no, you're ready to act. Okay, so I think that's like red. So that's why if you ever get one, please take those classes because they tell you when you're out, don't be out by a certain time. If you're in neighborhoods and they're not well lit, this could happen. If you're in this type of neighborhood, that could happen. So they definitely inform you on that. That was smart to have her dog there. And what bothers me most, and she was upset about this on the live, she was thankful that the security guard called the police for her.
I'm just going to stop it there because I don't want to just play her whole video back. Please, if you're going to carry a gun, or even if you're not going to carry a gun, please take a martial arts class. Now, she's saying self-defense, and I'm saying martial arts. And you have people that say that they're different. And on the one hand, they are different. Because self-defense is usually more about, like she was saying, situational awareness, mindset. If there are any techniques, they're usually the simple, most direct, easier to learn techniques. But I argue for the long approach, the long way around, the whole long drawn out, let me learn the fancy dance moves, traditional martial arts, because that ingrains it into your head, doing it for a long time, makes it second nature, and your body will just react sometimes with the right technique. I was in a situation once, and I'm not going into detail on purpose, where I did a technique on someone, and this was diffusing a violent situation. I promise you, when I learned that technique, I couldn't pull it off under no pressure. I couldn't pull it off. I just had to keep repeating it. I had trouble doing it. It was too complicated for me to do. But yet when I had to do it, I did it flawlessly. Flawlessly. Because I was trained properly by a good instructor. So, have a gun, take self-defense, and take a martial arts class. What type of martial arts? Should I do striking or should I do grappling? I do both. Do both. And I will even say also do whatever, do both, and try to find at least one of them that makes you do the fancy dance moves called forms, so that you can learn how to move your body without having to, take a lot of hits and damage on it. And sparring, is it important? Yes, sparring is very important, but not an overemphasis on sparring if you're really thinking about self-defense, because you want to be able to react and get away. Although sparring does help with fighting spirit. And if you take a traditional martial arts, you will get all of that. All of that. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Please share it so people like to talk about the martial arts. Please check out the original video. Peace, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. So we're just going to talk about first the tragedy. So let's take a look at this short.